December 16, 1883. McMaster has made his way into the hill country that surrounds the ruins of Fort Thompson. As he investigated the area, he came across the tracks of a large mounted party. After several hours, McMaster tracked the party to a cave entrance that was cut into the rock face of a hillside. The outside of the cave entrance was covered with strange symbols that were carved into the stones. All the symbols had demonic undertones. They depicted images of horrifying chimeras that were amalgamated inside geometric glyphs. The hair on the back of McMaster's neck stood on end as he lit his lantern and stepped inside the craggy entrance. He could sense that danger was near, but he could feel that the danger was not of this world.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Solo Gamers Club. Tonight is episode 2 of season 2 of my campaign playthrough, Alone in the Shadows of Brimstone. In tonight's episode, Will McMaster is undertaking the Black Ritual Crimson Hand mission, and he's just entered the mine to begin his exploration. As a part of the scenario rules, this is going to be a Crimson Hand adventure, so we'll be using those special rules in this playthrough. And we're currently in the mines, so we'll put that world card out. There are no special effects. Our objective is to find the ritual chamber, and we're going to find that once we reach the 11 mark on the depth track. In this case, the breaking down the barriers special rule, it'll be detrimental for us to find clue icons, so we don't want to see those if possible. Every time we have a clue icon appear on an exploration marker, we're going to roll a d3 and we're going to be gaining darkness cards based upon that. So we're going to try to hope that we don't find too many clue icons before we can get to that depth marker of 11. We're ready to begin, and we'll start with a holding back the darkness roll. Okay, 2d6 roll, and we're looking for a 7 or greater. We rolled a 6. Okay, so we've failed that, and that means that the darkness marker is going to move up 1 point. All right, now we're going to activate our models in initiative order, which will be Will McMaster. He's our only hero. He has 2 revive tokens and that special Path of Glory from the Fortune Teller, which will allow him to re-roll 1 defense roll per turn. So we're going to have to take good use of that. Okay, here's his movement roll. He rolled a 3. Okay, so he'll move up 3 spaces towards the doorway. 1, 2, 3. And I think I will attempt to do a search here. Okay, we're going to make a scavenge roll. We'll see if Will can find anything useful in that first room. Okay, here's the roll. Okay, no success there. So that is going to end his turn. And he's going to continue on. So we'll make a hold back the darkness roll. Rolled a 5. Not good. Okay, so that darkness is moving up at a faster rate than we would have liked. And we're hitting a blood splatter, so that means we're going to draw a darkness card. Okay, and that is revealed to be Creeping Shadows, Darkness Insanity. Count the number of growing dread cards in the stack and discard pile. Then roll a number of dice equal to that total. For each roll of a 1, 2, or 3, move the darkness 1 space forward on the depth track. Grit may not be used on this roll. Well, fortunately, we've pulled this card before we have any growing dread cards in the stack, so this will be a non-starter for us, which is a good thing. Okay, and McMaster is going to make his movement roll. Okay, he rolled a 5, so he's going to reach the end of the passage, and he's going to look through the door. So we'll move him up to that point and see what he finds. Okay, we're in the mines, so we're going to draw a mine map deck card. And that is revealed to be a cross passage. No exploration token. Okay, so we're going to move our progress marker up 1 point to 15, and then we're going to place a cross passage at that doorway. McMaster peers through the door and he sees a cross passage with 3 other doorways up ahead. Okay, he's going to continue on. We'll roll to hold back the darkness. We rolled a 6. Not good. All right, that's going to move up from 2 up to 3 now. Okay, and he'll continue on with his movement. Okay, here's his movement roll. He rolled a 6. Okay, I think he is going to head to the north, so we'll have him move into that other doorway. 1, 2, and 3. And then he's going to look to see what he finds. Okay, and he has discovered up ahead a long passage. No exploration token. Well, that's definitely in our favor because we can't get clue tokens without exploration tokens. So that's fantastic. Okay, so Will looks down that passage. It's a long passage. He sees another doorway at the end. That's going to move us up to 14 on the depth track. And we'll continue on with a hold back the darkness roll. We rolled a 2. Okay, that's doubles. That's going to be a mine event. Okay, we'll look that up. Okay, and that depth event reads, ambush attack. There are fiendish creatures and demons in the dark places of the world. Ambush attack. Draw a threat to immediately ambush the heroes. All right, as this is a Crimson Hand adventure, it says common enemies Crimson Hand. Whenever a threat card would be drawn, roll a d6. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, instead the heroes are attacked by Crimson Hand. All right, so we're going to roll and see what happens. 1, 2, or 3 would be Crimson Hand attack. Rolled a 4, so that's going to be a standard threat. We'll be drawing a low threat card. All right, and the low threat is revealed to be a Paradise of Tentacles. Okay, I'll bring the Tentacles card up on the screen, and we're going to roll a peril die and find out how many we're going to be ambushed by. Okay, here's the roll. Rolled a 4, so it'll be 4 tentacles. From out of nowhere, 4 tentacles burst from the ground, encompassing Will McMaster. All right, McMaster's has an initiative of 4, so we'll mark him with 4. And the tentacles have an initiative of 2. But as this is an ambush, they get +2 to initiative, so they're going to move up 2 points. They'll be at 4 also, and tentacles or monsters will always win the tie, so they're going to activate first. We'll start with a hold back the darkness roll for the round. Okay, here's the roll. Rolled a 4, so that's a failure. That's going to go up 1 to 4. And we're going to draw another darkness card. That card is revealed to be Forbidden Ritual, Darkness Tribal Ritual. Roll a d6 for each blood splatter and growing dread space that the hero posse marker has passed on the depth track, including the space it is currently on. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, immediately trigger that space, drawing a growing dread or darkness card, respectively. All right. Well, there'll be 2 blood splatters that we've activated previously, so we'll roll for the number 2 first. That one was a 6, so nothing there. And then we'll do the number 4 that we're on now. We rolled a 6 again, so that's good. So no damage there. All right, the tentacles are going to activate, and to resolve this, I'm going to do it in a clockwise order. So we'll start with this tentacle and then move our way clockwise around. The tentacles have a 2-hit melee of 4+, and they have a combat value of 3. Damage is 3. All right, that first tentacle is going to lash out at Will McMaster. Now, they have a special ability called Smash. Tentacle 2-hit rolls of 6 or greater ignore the hero's defense. All right, here we go. All right, they have 2 misses and they have 1 hit, and that's a smash. So that's going to go directly through any defense that he has, and he's going to take 3 wounds. McMaster had 1 wound at the beginning of the mission, so he has a total of 4 wounds out of his 12 health boxes. All right, we're going to move on to the next tentacle, and he's going to lash out at McMaster. Okay, here's his roll. And they rolled 1 hit. Okay, so he's got 1 hit. And that'll cause 3 damage. So McMaster will be able to roll it to see if he can avoid that damage. McMaster has a defense of 4+, so we'll see if he can avoid the damage from this strike. He did not, so he's going to take an additional 3 wounds. That'll bring him up to 7 wounds. And I forgot one thing, he does have that Path of Glory, which allows him to re-roll 1 defense roll per turn. So we do get to re-roll this. I'll have to remember that. It's going to be very important. Here's the re-roll. Still didn't get it, so he's going to take an additional 3 wounds. That moves him up to 7 out of 12 wounds. And we'll move on to the next tentacle, attacking him. Okay, here's their roll. And they rolled 1 success, and that's a smash. So he'll get no defense roll, taking another 3 wounds. That brings him up to 10 wounds now out of his 12 health. This is not going well. And now finally the last tentacle is going to hit him. Okay, here's their roll. And they rolled 2 smashes. Oh boy, not good. Now that's going to be a total of 6 wounds. That will KO McMaster. So he's going to have to use one of his revive tokens. All right, so McMaster is going to spend one of his revive tokens that will fully heal him, and he's going to recover 1 grit. And now McMaster is going to activate. We'll roll for his movement. He rolled a 3, so he really can't really move anywhere. He could escape, try and escape and move diagonally through and get into a position here, but I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. I'll just play him where he's at, and he is going to use his Peacekeeper pistol, which has 3 shots, range of 6, and he has a ranged 2-hit of 4+. Okay, so here is his roll. All right, and he rolled 1 hit. 1 hit. He's going to use his grit token and re-roll those 2 misses. And no hits there, so he's got a total of 1 hit. All right, so he'll target that hit on this tentacle in front of him, and then he'll roll for damage. Now the tentacle has a defense of 2, so it'll be a -2 to the roll for damage, and it has 4 health. So he rolled a 4 minus the 2. The tentacle will take 2 wounds. So we'll place 2 wound markers next to that tentacle, and then we're going to begin a new round. Now for the new round, we're going to readjust our initiative. The tentacles go down to initiative of 2 now, and then McMaster stays at 4, so he'll have the initiative for this round. We're going to roll to hold back the darkness. We rolled a 5. It's terrible rolls. Okay, so that's going to move the darkness marker up to 5 now. And now the models will activate, and this will be McMaster. He is going to use his Peacekeeper and fire the 3 shots. Okay, here's his roll. And that time he was able to get 2 hits. So we'll place those 2 hits. And I think we'll place these one at a time. I'll use one of them against that wounded tentacle, so it has a defense of 2. Okay. He rolled a 4, and minus the 2 defense is 2 more, so that he'll kill that tentacle. That one is done. He's finally taken one out. And we'll apply this second hit to the next tentacle over here. We'll see how much damage that does. He rolled a 5 minus the 2 defense would be 3 wounds on that tentacle. So we'll mark that with 3 wounds. All right, and we'll put this tentacle on his card so we can calculate the XP he's going to earn. And now the tentacles will activate. I should have used my laying down the law ability, which would have allowed me to re-roll 1 2-hit die. So I'm going to start doing that in the future. I should have done that. And they'll begin with a 2-hit roll. We'll start with this tentacle attacking him. Be rolling 3 combat dice. And they rolled 2 hits. One of them is a smash. All right, so we'll see what the effects of that are. The smash is going to get through his defense, and that's going to get him 3 wounds. And now the second one we can attempt to use our defense against. And we can use our Path of Glory for a reroll once per turn. So we'll see what happens. Okay, this is his defense roll. Whoops. He rolled a 4. Okay, so he was able to defend that. So he's just going to end up with 3 wounds from that first smash strike. All right, now the next tentacle is going after him. He rolled 3 hits, of which 1 is a smash. All right, so the smash is going to get through, and that's going to do another 3 wounds to McMaster. That brings him up to a total of 6 wounds now. And now he's going to be able to defend against the other 2. Okay, he'll roll his defense dice, and that's a 4 or better. And he was able to defend 1 of those. Okay, and I think what we'll do then is we're going to use his Path of Glory reroll option. That'll allow him to reroll 1 defense. And he still didn't succeed on that. So one of those will get through, and he'll do an additional 3 wounds rather, to McMaster. That will bring him up to a total of 9. 9 out of his 12 health. This is not going well. And now the last tentacle is going to attack. Okay, here's their roll. He rolled 2 hits, one of them a smash. Oh boy, oh boy. All right, and we'll see if McMaster can defend against that 1. He did not. So he's going to take a total of 6 more wounds. That is going to KO him. He'll have no choice but to use his final revive token. And that's going to fully heal him and get him a grit token back. This is not good. Okay, we're going to move on to another round, and we'll roll for holding back the darkness. Rolled a 7, finally. We've succeeded in holding back the darkness. Okay, now we're going to activate in initiative order. McMaster will activate. He's going to roll for movement. He rolled a 6. All right. Well, he's going to stay where he is. I don't think by escaping would make any sense to move, and they're just going to close on him. They have a movement of 6 anyway. So, all right, he'll stay where he is. He's going to fire his Peacekeeper pistol. That'll give him 3 dice to roll. It has 3 shots, and we'll see what happens. Okay, he rolled 1 critical, 1 success. He's going to use his laying down the law. Once per attack, you may re-roll 1 2-hit die. Okay, here's his re-roll. And he got 2 criticals and 1 regular, so that's fantastic. All right, we're going to place those critical hits. I'll place 1 of each of those on each of those 2 tentacles. And then I guess we'll place that one on the wounded one. Okay, so now we're going to roll for the damage. And we'll start with this tentacle here. So the full amount is going to go against them. There's no defense. Rolled a 1, so that's going to get them 1 wound on that tentacle. Second one. he rolled a 6, so that's going to kill that tentacle. We'll place that on his card. And finally, his last one. Now this one will have a defense. It has a defense of 2. He already has 3 wounds. So rolled a 6. That's good. So we've finally killed this one. We'll add that to his card as well. That's the 3rd tentacle he's killed. And that will complete Will McMaster's round. And now that wounded tentacle will activate. He's going to attack Will from behind there. He'll roll his 3 combat dice. And they rolled 2 successes. One of them was the smash, and the other one was a normal hit. So we'll see if Will can defend against that one. And he did. Okay, so he successfully defended this one. But the smash is going to get through, and that's going to inflict 3 wounds on McMaster. That'll be 3 of his 12 health boxes are now filled. And that completes the round. And we'll roll to hold back the darkness. We rolled a 10, and that's double, so that's going to be a mine event. And that reads, a mine depth event, a terrifying shriek. A shriek of pain and suffering echoes through the mine, chilling you to the bone. Each hero in the mine takes D6 horror hits. All right, well, we're going to roll a D6, and we'll find out how many horror hits that Will is going to take. He takes 2, so he'll be able to defend against that with his willpower. That'll allow him to roll 2 dice, and he can defend against that with a 4 or greater. And he did. He defended both of those, so that terrifying shriek did not affect him. All right, he's going to activate now, and he'll roll for movement. He rolled a 6, so I think what we'll do is I'm going to try to maneuver a little bit, and we'll see if we can escape. We're going to try an escape roll. Rolled a 2, so I was not able to escape. I'll have to stay. My plan was, if I could escape, I could reposition myself closer to some of the doors that I would be using prior to the end of the combat, but not able to do that. So he's just going to spin around, and he's going to fire his Peacekeeper at the last tentacle. Okay, here's his roll. And he rolled 2 hits. 2 hits. And he's going to use his laying down the law ability, which will allow him to re-roll 1 of his 2 hits. It was a miss. So he does have a critical hit and a normal hit. So we'll take the critical hit and we'll roll for damage on that. That'll go all the way through. Rolled a 3, plus the 1 that he had there is 4, and that will kill that last tentacle. Thank goodness. All right, we'll recoup this battle and see what the effects are. All right, McMaster was able to kill 4 tentacles, and each tentacle is worth 30 XP. So he's going to earn himself 120 XP. That's going to give him 505 XP. So he would be able to level up, which I think we're going to wait on that, because when you level up, you're able to fully heal. And I think I'm going to wait until McMaster gets a few more wounds. I want to kind of preserve that ability. At least I think so. For right now, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to wait. I'll add that to his XP to his total. And he's able to catch his breath, so he'll be rolling a D3, and he'll be able to heal D3 wounds or sanity. And he's got a 1, so he'll heal 1 of those 3 wounds. That'll leave him with 2 wounds out of his possible 12 health boxes. And now he's able to draw a loot card for each threat card that was drawn in the fight. All right, here's our loot deck. We'll give that a shuffle. And we'll give that a cut. And draw the top card. And he earns $25 in cash and 30 XP. All right, fantastic. And that brings McMaster up to a total of 535 XP and $25 in cash. He has 1 grit token, and he's carrying 2 wounds for the moment. I'm not sure about that leveling up. I'm going to have to think about that, whether I'm better served to level up now or to wait until I could take a few wounds first. And I think I'm going to wait. I think that's the correct way to do this. So I'm going to wait. I'm already out of revive tokens, and I do have some bandages. So I could employ some of those bandages. Maybe I'll do that. I think what he'll do, he's going to use one of his bandages that he has and trying to get rid of those 2 wounds. Let's do that. All right, so a bandage token allows us to discard and heal D6 wounds. So we're going to spend one of our bandages, and we're going to have him roll a D6 and see how many he can heal. Rolled a 4, so that'll fully heal him. That'll get rid of his 2 wounds. And we're ready to actually continue on with the mission. All right, we'll begin the next turn with a rollback of the darkness. We rolled a 9. Okay, so we're in good shape. McMaster will activate, and he's going to roll for movement. He rolled a 4. I think we'll head to the east. So he's going to move 1, 2, and 3. And he'll take a look down through that doorway and see what he finds. And he discovers the big room. And it has an advanced encounter attached with it called Shafts of Light. And now we'll uncover what the exploration token has to say. And that's an ambush attack. There are 2 doors, and it will be another ambush attack. All right, let's find out where the doors to the room are first. And we're going to, there are 2 doors out of the 3 possibles, so we'll roll a die, and then the result of that will be the closed portion of the closed door. Rolls a 3, so this will be closed off, and those 2 will be doors. All right, we've placed doors at the north and south, and an end cap on the east. Before we resolve that ambush attack, though, we have a advanced encounter that we need to deal with. We'll have to determine if there is a Crimson Hand encounter associated with this. Crimson Hand encounters, whenever the heroes draw 1 or more encounters, even in an other world, roll a d6. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, they must also draw 1 Crimson Hand encounter. All right, we'll make that roll. The roll is a 1, so we're going to be drawing a Crimson Hand encounter to piggyback with that advanced encounter. All right, these are the Crimson Hand encounters. We've shuffled those. We'll give those a cut. And then we'll draw the top one, and then that will be added to our Shafts of Light encounter, advanced encounter, and then we can resolve those in any order we wish. So we're going to add that card and the Shafts of Light card, and we're going to resolve those before we begin the ambush. Before we get to that, I have neglected to record all the rooms that we have visited for our depth track. We started here, so this would be 14, 13, this is going to be 12, so we should be at a depth of 12. The next room that we find is going to be our target room, the ritual chamber. All right, and the Shafts of Light advanced encounter reads, Encounter, Environment, Hope. The ceiling here is broken out in places, with shafts of light spilling down into the room. Your spirits are lifted slightly at the hope that all is not lost, not yet. We have to make a Spirit 5+ test. For every 5+ test a hero rolls, they may recover a Grit or cancel a Darkness card on the roll of a 4, 5, or 6, or a Growing Dread card on a roll of 5 or 6. Then, if no hero passed the test, the overwhelming sense of dread is palpable in the room. Draw a Growing Dread card and add it to the stack. So, okay, we'll see if we can pass this test. McMaster has a spirit value of only 1. His personal journal will add +1 to his spirit. So he can roll, that's a skill, spirit level of 2. So he can roll 2 dice. Okay, here's his test. He's going to be rolling 2 dice. And he failed that. I do have a grit token I could use, but I'm not going to burn that, I don't think, yet. I might end up needing that for the combat. So we're going to add a Growing Dread card to our stack. Alright, we'll keep our Growing Dread stack here near the depth track, and that is going to complete the Shafts of Light adventure. And we'll move on to the Crimson Hand adventure, Fountain of Mutbar. And the card reads, Encounter Environment Cult. A small altar resides here with a statue of the dark god Mutbar, a fountain of water springing forth from its toothy maw. The inscription reads, Faith to those who seek it, power to those who claim it, immortality to those who will it. Each hero must choose. Drink from the fountain, take D3 corruption hits. For each that is successfully prevented with your willpower, you may also heal 2d6 wounds, or remove 1 injury, mutation, or madness. For each that is not prevented, take 2 corruption points instead. Or we can stay clear of the altar. You immediately hear voices in the dark as the shadows whisper in your ear, tempting you to drink. All right. Well, given this choice, I think I'm going to stay clear of the altar. And it says here that we immediately hear voices in the dark as the shadows whisper in your ear, tempting you to drink. So in that case, I'm going to rule that to be the same as it was a voices in the dark for the old lantern. In that case, we're going to take D6 sanity damage, and we'll be able to try to prevent some of that with our willpower. So we'll make a D6 roll and see how much we take. Rolled a 1. Okay, so I can see if I can stop that point from happening with a willpower roll of 4+. And I'm unsuccessful, so I'm going to take 1 sanity damage. That's not too bad, all things considered. All right, and that completes the Fountain of Mutbar encounter. And incidentally, these encounters will only happen 1 time per mission, meaning that we'll never draw the same encounter twice in the same mission. So I'm going to put this Fountain of Mutbar encounter in the discard pile. But following this mission, this encounter will be placed back in with the other special Crimson Hand encounters, and it could be drawn again in a future mission. But we'll only have 1 encounter, the same encounter, appear once in a mission. All right, and now we have our ambush attack. And also as a part of the Crimson Hand adventures, we're going to have to find out if a common enemy's Crimson Hand is going to come into play rather than a normal threat deck enemy. So we're going to, it says here, whenever a threat card would be drawn, roll a d6 on a roll of 1, 2, or 3. Instead, the heroes are attacked by Crimson Hand. And then we use the table that is provided to determine what we find. Okay, here's the roll. Rolled a 2. Okay, so it is going to be a Crimson Hand enemy. And that card lists 1 to 2 heroes is a peril die +1 number of Crimson Hand enemies. All right, so let's roll a peril die and add 1 to that, and that's the number of Crimson Hand models we're going to be facing. Okay, here's the roll. Rolled a 4 +1 is equal to 5, so we're going to be placing 5 Crimson Hand enemies ambushing Sheriff McMaster. All right, another aspect of the Crimson Hand adventures are Crimson Hand traits. Whenever Crimson Hand enemies are encountered, roll a d6. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, also draw a Crimson Hand trait card for them. All right, we're going to make a d6 roll and see if that has occurred. Roll is a 1, so that is true. They will be drawing a Crimson Hand trait card. So we'll give these a shuffle. And we'll cut that deck and see what we get. And the trait card that they have drawn is Relic Raiders, Crimson Hand trait. Anytime a hero takes 5 or more wounds from Crimson Hand combat hits during the turn, roll a d6. On a roll of a 1 or 2, the Crimson Hand steal the hero's highest gold value artifact. Discard and transfer to the Crimson Hand. This immediately counts as an extra action, for an extra artifact for their Sacred Artifact ability. And the XP is +5 per artifact currently in their possession. All right, we'll put that off to the side then and keep that in mind during this combat. And then we're going to place the Crimson Hand models. They are in an ambush position, so they're going to encompass McMaster's position. And he's going to begin with an initiative of 4. The Crimson Hand have an initiative of 3, but as this is an ambush attack, they gain +2 to their initiative on the first turn. So they're going to have initiative of 5 temporarily, and they will be activating first this turn. I just noticed one thing. I have calculated the depth track wrong. I should be at 13 instead of 12. Would have started here, and then that would be 15, 14, 13. Okay, Crimson Hand enemies have a special ability called Sacred Artifact. At the start of the fight, draw 1 artifact card for this enemy group. Each Crimson Hand gains +1 health for every full $100 of value that the artifact is worth. When the Crimson Hand are defeated, roll a d6. On a roll of 5 or greater, the hero who killed the last model may take this artifact. All right, well, we'll draw a artifact card and see what the value is on that. Okay, and we draw Life Water, Artifact Tonic. Discard to fully heal your health, or discard to heal a single injury, madness, mutation, or curse. Has a value of $400. So that's going to add +4 health to all of these Crimson Hand models. That's quite a bit. That'll make that 7 health for each of the models. Oh boy. I'm going to make a notation of that on the card so I don't forget that those are going to be 7 health now. And then we'll place this artifact to the side and award that to McMaster if he's able to kill these models. Well, we're ready to begin the fight. We'll start with a Hold Back the Darkness roll. That hasn't been going well for me. I'm already at 6. Okay, we rolled an 11, so we're okay for this turn. And now the models are going to activate in initiative order. In this case, the Crimson Hand models have a 5 for this round. They will be activating first. Okay, we're going to start activating the Crimson Hand. We'll start with this model, and then we'll work our way in a clockwise fashion. So that first Crimson Hand has a melee 2 hit of 5+, and they have a combat roll of 2, so they'll be rolling 2 dice, and they hit on 5 or greater. Well, they rolled 2 hits. Okay, and so we'll have to see if McMaster can avoid those with a defense roll. He has a defense of 4. Okay, here's his roll. And he's managed to avoid both of those, so that's good. That'll cancel both of those. And we'll move on to the next model. Okay, here's the second roll. And those are both misses, so we'll move on to the next model. Those are misses. Okay, move on to this model. Those are misses. And finally the last one. Well, get lucky. That time they have 2 hits. McMaster can try to defend those. 4 or greater. He managed to avoid 1, so he's going to take 3 damage from the attack from that model. So we'll mark his card with 3 wounds. All right, McMaster is going to activate. He'll roll for movement, see if he can get a grit token reclaimed. He does not. So he's going to fire his Peacekeeper pistol that has 3 shots, and he's looking for a 2 hit of 4 or greater. Okay, here's his roll. He ended up with 2 hits, one of them critical, And he's going to use his laying down the law ability. Once per attack, you may re-roll 1 2-hit die. So he's going to re-roll that miss and see if he can get a hit. He did. So he's got 2 hits and 1 critical hit. So we'll apply those to the models around him. All right, well, he's going to assign the critical hit to that model in back of him. We'll start with that. Now, they also have a special ability called Endurance. The enemy cannot take more than 3 wounds from any single hit. The extra damage is wasted. So, all right, he's going to roll to see the amount of damage that model will take. And he rolled a 6, so that's going to inflict 3 wounds on that model. That's the maximum that they can take. We'll place 3 wounds there, and then he'll assign another hit towards that model. They have a defense of 2, so we'll be decreasing that amount that we rolled by 2. Next one is a 6, minus 2 is 4, but once again they can only take a maximum of 3 hits per successful strike, so that'll put him up to 6 wounds. And we'll mark them with a total of 6 wounds now on that one. And now the last hit will be applied, and we'll see what we get for a damage roll there. Defense is 2. Rolled a 1, so no damage there. All right. And that will finish McMaster's turn, and then we will begin another round. I looked at this a little more carefully. I think I'm going to have to spend a grit token for McMaster to attempt to take out this model. He's nearly dead. He's got 6 out of 7 wounds. The reason being, they have a Zealot's ability. This enemy does +1 damage on all of its combat hits for each wound marker it currently has. So I'm going to spend the grit marker and re-roll that last damage roll that I was making to see if I can take that model out. Otherwise, I'm going to have no chance at all. Okay, here's the roll. Rolled a 2. Their defense is 2, so no go. All right, we'll start the next round then. I'll start with a Hold Back the Darkness. This time the Crimson Hand, though, their initiative is going to go back to normal now. Their initiative will be at 3. The ambush gave them a +2. So now I'll be going first, at least, with the initiative. So we'll roll for Holding Back the Darkness. Rolled a 7. That's good enough right now. And McMaster is going to activate, and he will roll his 2-hit with his Peacekeeper pistol. He has a 2-hit of 4. He rolls 3 shots. Here's the roll. He has no hits. Oh boy, this is not good. All right, that's going to end his turn. I have no grit tokens or anything I can use. I can re-roll 1 attack with my Laying Down the Law ability, and I guess I'll do that. Whoops. The 1, no good. Okay, so then the Crimson Hand models are going to attack. Same order, and they are rolling 2 dice. They hit on a 5 or greater. Okay, here's the first set. And they rolled 1 hit, and we'll see if McMaster can avoid that. He did. He rolled a 6, so that will cancel out that hit. Go on to the next model. He rolled no hits. Go on to the next one. No hits. Third one. Or fourth one, I should say. Rolled 1 hit. I'll see if McMaster can avoid that. He did. 4 or greater. And finally, the last one. Now, this is a wounded model. It's got 6 hits, so he'll be adding +6 damage for every hit that he gets. So we'll have to see what happens with this. Okay, here's the roll. He has 1 hit. So I'm going to have to see if I can avoid that. If I can't, McMaster is going to take a total of 9 damage, and this is going to KO him. Okay, here is the roll. He did it. He was able to avoid that. And I'm going to have to seriously consider escaping from this mine. Well, I have to decide if I'm going to try to escape or to try to fight this out. I really don't think there's any way that McMaster is going to be able to take out 5 of the Crimson Hand, especially with 7 health each. If I had any revive tokens remaining, maybe there would be a chance. The only thing I do have for my ability would be to level up. I have sufficient XP where I could level up right now. That would give me, I'd be healed, fully healed, and I would gain a upgrade bonus and a upgrade from the lawman chart. But I still don't think I would be able to take out what I'm up against, and I'm only on depth 13. I'd still have to descend to 2 more locations to have any chance at getting at the objective room. I really don't see a path forward in this mission. Well, what I've decided to do is I'm going to level up. So I'm going to pay 500 XP, and that is going to fully heal McMaster of the 3 wounds that he did have, and the sanity damage that he had. And then he's going to make a roll on the upgrade bonus chart for lawmen. It's a 2d6 roll, and we'll see what benefit he gains from that. He rolled a 7, and that's plus d6 health and plus d6 sanity. Okay, so that's pretty good. We'll make a roll for the health. He gained 5 health. That would bring him up to 17, and sanity would rise from another 5. That would also rise to 17. So he's got 17 health, 17 sanity. And as my upgrade, I'm going to use the determination column, and I'm going to select man of action. You may roll 2 dice for move each turn and choose which to use. All right, Will McMaster is now at level 2, and I'm still not entirely certain that he's going to be able to even get past this encounter. I could stick it out. I have 17 health, 17 sanity, 2 grit tokens. I guess the worst that would happen is I would take an injury if I am knocked out. I guess I'll try to stick it out. I have the initiative, so I will be rolling for movement. And because of the man of action, I'll roll 2 dice, and I can choose which one I want to use for my movement roll. All right, a 3 and a 4. Well, I would use the 4. I'm not going to be moving, obviously. I'm surrounded. And then I will activate my Peacekeeper pistol and roll with 3 shots. Okay, here's my roll. All right, I have 2 successes, and I'm going to try to take out that wounded Crimson Hand. He has 6 wounds on him, so we'll apply 1 die to him. And we'll roll for damage. They have a defense of 2. And that's enough. 5 minus 2 is 3. That's 3 wounds. That will kill that Crimson Hand. And we'll place that on Will McMaster's player card so we can document the XP that he's going to earn. And I have 1 more hit that I can apply, and I think I'll apply that to this model. We'll roll for wounds. 3 minus his 2 damage, he'll take 1 wound, so at least it's a start. We'll place the wound marker here. And now the Crimson Hand models will activate, and we'll do it in the same manner, clockwise. Okay, here's the first attack. A hit on a 5 or greater. And they have 2 hits. Okay. And McMaster is able to defend that with a 4 or greater on his defense. All right, he managed to defend 1 of those. 1 will get through. And he's going to take 3 damage points. So we'll mark him accordingly. And the next model will activate. Okay, here's his attack. And both of those failed. That's a miss. The third model will fire. Both misses. And finally, the last model. Now that has a wound, so that's going to be gaining +1 damage for all of their combat hits. Okay, here's their roll. And no hits. Okay, so he's kind of survived that round without too much trouble. And we'll go into another round now. We're going to roll to hold back the darkness. I failed to roll to hold back the darkness on the previous round, so I'm going to do that one first. Here's the roll. Rolled a 5, so that's failed. We'll move that up from 6 to 7 on the darkness track, and now I'll roll to hold back the darkness for this current round. Okay, here's the roll. Roll double 4s, that's going to be a depth event, and we'll look that up. Okay, the depth event reads falling rubble. The rocky ceiling of the mine shaft is unstable and prone to collapse. Each hero in the mines immediately takes d6 hits. Okay, we'll roll a d6 and see how many hits he gets from the rubble. And of course it's 6. Okay, so he'll be able to roll 6 dice and try to defend against those. We'll see what happens. Okay, here's his defense. And he's managed to defend 5 out of the 6. Okay, that's pretty good. So McMaster will take 1 more additional wound from the falling rubble. That puts him up to 4 wounds out of his 17 health. And McMaster is going to activate, and he'll roll for movement. He has 2 dice for movement now because of the Man of Action ability. And he can take either the 1 or the 6. He's already at full capacity for his grit tokens, so it won't matter. I'll just use the 1, I guess. And he's going to fire his Peacekeeper pistol, and we'll see what happens. He's got 3 shots in that Peacekeeper. Okay, here's the roll. He's got 1 success, and that's a critical hit. I'm going to spend 1 grit and re-roll these 2 and see if I can get some additional hits. Ended up getting 1 more, so we've got a critical hit and a normal hit. I'll apply the critical hit to the wounded Crimson Hand, and we'll see how much damage we can get through. They max out at 3 because of their endurance. So rolled a 6, and so he'll take 3 more wounds. That brings them up to 4 out of their 7 on that model. And then I'll apply the other hit, and we'll see what we get out of that. Their defense is 2. Rolled a 5, and that will apply 3 more wounds, and that's going to kill that Crimson Hand. That's a total of 7 wounds, and that's going to take that model out. So we're making some progress. I'll put that onto McMaster's card, and now the other 3 Crimson Hand will activate. All right, the first Crimson Hand is going to attack. They hit on a melee 5+. They got 1 hit, and McMaster will defend. And he did not defend that, so he's going to take 3 wounds from that. That will bring his wound total up to 7. 7 out of 17. And now the next model is going to activate. And that is no hits. They need 5 or greater. And finally, the last model. No hits. Okay, so we're doing okay for that, at least for that this round. And we'll start a new round. And we'll roll to hold back the darkness. Rolled an 11, so we're okay with that. It stays at 7. And now McMaster is going to roll for movement. He's got 2 dice now he can roll. Both of them are 1s. Well, he'll be able to recapture 1 of his grit, so that's a good thing. We'll do that. That gives him 2 grit. He's at maximum grit now. And he's going to fire his Peacekeeper, and we'll see what happens. He's got 3 dice. Okay, here's the roll. He's got 1 critical hit, and I'm going to use another grit and re-roll 2 of these and see if we can get more hits. We did. We've got 2 criticals and 1 regular hit that we can apply. That's great. And I'm going to apply a critical hit to that model, and we'll see how much damage we can do. Rolled a 3, minus 2 is 1 hit, so he'll take a wound. And then we'll apply another critical. Oh, I'm sorry, that's wrong. That full amount should have went 3. Yeah, he gets 3 wounds because there's no. That's the whole point of the critical hit is you go through the defense. So that's 3 wounds. I'll apply another critical hit and see how much damage we can do to him. 3, so that'll be up to 6 now. 6 wounds on that model. And finally, we have one more hit to apply. It'll be a standard hit, so the defense will kick in. It's -2 on defense. A 4 minus the 2 is 2. It'll kill that model. All right, so he's gone. That's dead. We'll put that onto his card so we can account for that. And now the remaining 2 Crimson Hand will activate. All right, the Crimson Hand are going to roll, starting with that first model. And he hits on a 5 or greater. No hits. Okay, and the last model. He has 1 hit. And we'll see if McMaster can avoid that with a defense. He did. Okay, so that cancels that out. He takes no damage. And then we will start a new round. We'll roll to hold back the darkness. Rolled an 8, so we're okay with that. And now McMaster is going to activate, and he's going to fire that peacekeeping pistol of his. 3 shots. He has 1 critical. And I'm going to spend that last grit, and I'm going to re-roll these 2 and see if we can get some more damage on him. Got 1 more hit, so we got a total of 2 hits, 1 being a critical. And I'll apply both of those, I think, to that model there. We'll start with the critical hit, see how much we can get through. 5, and that maxes out at 3 because of their endurance, so they will take 3 wounds. And then now the standard hit will be -2 for defense. 4 minus 2 is 2, so that'll bring him up to 5 wounds. All right. And now the Crimson Hand will activate. Okay, here's their first attack out of the 2. You got 1 hit. See if McMaster can defend. He did. So no damage there. And then now the last attack. Now this guy has 5 wounds on him, so he will get +5 damage if the hit gets through. So here's the roll. He did get 1 hit. McMaster will attempt to defend against that, and he does have the Path of Glory where I can re-roll a defense if needed. So, okay, here's his roll. Rolled a 3, and we're going to have to use that Path of Glory and see if we can get a re-roll on this. We didn't. So that full damage is going to come through. That's going to be a total of their normal 3 damage plus 5 for his Zealot's ability will be 8 damage. And that is going to bring them up to 15 wounds on McMaster. That only leaves him a wound capacity of 2. All right, we're going to start a fresh round here, and McMaster is going to use one of his bandage tokens. We'll spend one of those, and he'll get to roll a d6 and heal that number of wounds. So we'll see what we can heal here. Rolled a 1. Okay, what else would it be? So he's going to heal 1 wound. And I think I'm going to use my last bandage up, and we will do that one more time. Roll a different dice, and we'll see how much wound damage we can heal. 4. So we've healed a total of 5 wounds with those bandages. That leaves us with 10 wounds out of 17 health. And now we'll roll to hold back the darkness. Woo. Rolled a 12. Okay, so that is a mine event, and that reads as Stubborn Resolve. This place is horrible and unforgiving, but you're not about to give up without a fight. Each hero may immediately heal D6 wounds or sanity, any mix, or recover 1 grit. KO'd heroes may immediately recover, rolling for their injury and madness and healing 2d6 wounds or sanity, any mix, as normal for recovering. Well, that's fantastic. So we're going to be able to heal d6 wounds because of this. So we'll do that. Here's the roll. He rolled a 4, so we're able to heal 4 wounds. That brings us down to a total of 6 wounds out of a health of 17. So that came at a perfect time. Okay, McMaster is going to activate. He'll roll for movement. And he has a movement of 4. We can choose whichever of those 2 dice we want. And I actually thought about that, and I wonder if I was to attempt to escape and pull around the corner, I would be able to have some cover there. I wonder if that would be a good tactic. I'm going to think about that. You know, I guess those cover rules are only limited to the frontier town, because it does say about leaning around corners and doors. It says that a model in a space at the outside corner of a building wall may spend 1 movement point to move onto the line between the space they are in and the space in front of them. This is called splitting the space. So I don't know if that applies inside of a mine. I guess not. Well, for right now, I'm going to stick with the rules, standard rules, and we'll just activate him, and he's going to fire his Peacekeeper. Okay, here's McMaster's roll with the Peacekeeper. He rolled 3 hits. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to finish off that wounded one for sure, and we'll apply those one at a time. That's the first one. See how much damage we can do. Rolled a 4. Minus the 2 defense is 2 wounds. That'll be 7. That will kill that Crimson Hand. That's good. And then we'll apply the other 2 hits to the last model. All right. Okay, here's the first one. And we'll roll for damage. A 6 minus 2 is 4, so he'll max out with 3, of course, because of his endurance ability. So we'll place 3 wounds on him. And then now the last hit will be applied. Rolled a 5, minus the 2 defense is 3 more. That will bring his wounds up to 6. All right. And that will end McMaster's activation. We'll move on to the last Crimson Hand. Okay, that heavily wounded Crimson Hand is going to activate. He'll roll for his attack, and because of that Zealot ability, he's going to be adding 6 damage to any hits. So I'll have to hope I can defend against these if he does get any. Okay, here's the roll. He ended up with 1 hit. So I'm going to have to try to defend against that, and I do have the Path of Glory ability. So here's the first roll. I rolled a 4, so I was able to defend against that. He takes no wounds, and we'll start a new round. Okay, we'll hold back the darkness, start a new round here. The roll is a 12. Stubborn Resolve is going to kick in again. That's a depth event. This place is horrible and unforgiving, but you're not about to give up without a fight. Each hero immediately heals d6 wounds or sanity, any mix. Well, I'll definitely take that. So we're going to roll a d6, and he's going to heal 2 wounds. That brings him from 6 down to 4. That's the best luck I've had so far. McMaster is going to activate. He'll roll 2 dice for his movement and choose one of those. He's got a 4 and a 5, so no grit coming back. He'll just stay in position, I guess, and fire the Peacekeeper. That's 3 dice. And hopefully he can take this guy out. He's got 2 hits. So we'll see if we can take this guy out. Now we got 2 hits. We'll apply both of them, obviously, to the last model. Here's the first one. This will be a -2 for defense. A 2 minus 2 is 0, no damage. And now the last hit. We got him. 6 minus 2 is 4, so that's 3 wounds because of the endurance, and that kills that last model. So thank goodness. All right, McMaster was able to kill 5 Crimson Hand models. That's going to earn him 30 XP for each, and in addition, they were Relic Raiders. and that was an extra 5 XP each. So they're actually a total of 35 times 5. So that's a pretty good return on the XP. And that will earn him 175 XP. And we're going to catch our breath. We're able to heal D3 wounds or sanity damage. So I'll roll a D3 dice. And he heals one more, so that puts him at 3 wounds now. And now McMaster is able to draw a loot card. So here's our loot deck. We'll give that a cut. And we'll see what they get. He has 1 Darkstone shard and 30 XP. Alright, so we'll give McMaster a Darkstone shard and 30 XP. McMaster is now at 240 XP. He has $25 in cash, and currently he has 3 wounds. No grit tokens. And his health now is at 17 and sanity 17, so we do have some ability to continue on. We'll see what happens. I'm going to think about all of this. And also, by defeating those Crimson Hand models, we get that artifact that they were carrying, which is that life water. Discard to fully heal your health, or discard to heal a single injury, madness, mutation, or curse. So I think with that, we're going to try to continue on, and we'll see if we're able to get through this mission somehow. And I think with all things considered, I am going to press on, and we'll see if we can solve this mission. I think I'm going to end the video here. We're roughly at about an hour already, and we're going to regroup and come back with episode 3 with McMaster still pursuing his mission, Black Ritual. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope all of you have a good evening, and we'll see you next time at the Solo Gamers Club. Goodbye.